It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazawey. Let's talk some sports.
And here we go, Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com, the Fox 2 app. How's everybody doing out there in listener land? Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you.
What's up, my guy?
You?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic today.
Tom Maz, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I just realized I didn't plug my headphones in, but it's okay.
We can hear you.
That's good.
That might be a good thing.
We talk loud enough so that you can hear us no matter if your headphones are in or not.
For John Yu, though.
Very good.
All right.
Johnny, you will be with us today.
I love John Baker.
Thanks for sending me that video, by the way.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of it.
Very good.
That got the party started off on the right foot, didn't it?
It sure did.
Hey, you know what? It happens. But let's say it like this. I woke up this morning and I was thinking of a movie that just was made last night, and it started this morning. It stars Tom Brady, and it's called The Saddest Morning Ever, okay? Now, if you think about it from Tom Brady's perspective, if you look at the last calendar year for Tom Brady, he's been accused in tampering, if you will. He was retired, then he was unretired to the dismay of his wife, which then he became separated and estranged, and then eventually full divorce goes on, and then his team sucks. But the one thing that he could always go back to this year with everything that has happened, Ryan Ermanni, he could go back to football, because there was going to be another day, another Monday, another Tuesday, another day in the terrible NFC South, which, by the way, they won 8 games, won 9 games, lost. That's how they finished that. But now, Ryan Ermanni, as he wakes up today and he's going to the exit meeting, is what happens on the last day of the season for an NFL player, is the exit meeting. You go in, you do your physical, you talk to your coach, you talk to the head coach, your positional coach, talk about what are your plans for the offseason, and then you're gone. And then you take off. The only thing is, with his exit meeting, Ryan Ermanni, there's no kids to go back to in the house and talk about how the season was bad or get your mind off it. There's no Giselle at the house, that you can cry on your shoulder. Tom Brady's had the loneliest morning today, I guarantee you, since the NFL draft in 2000, where he went in the 6th round, where he damn sure know he was better than all the guys that went before him. This is a very lonely morning for Tom Brady.
Tom Mazawey. Well, what about you? I got that one way wrong. I mean, look.
That's fine.
That was way wrong. I got to chill on.
You want to blow your horn a little bit more?
No, okay. The horn is done now for a while.
Good.
Until I've got to make sure I get the next one right.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot of those. In fact, I can't think of a hot take alert that I've gotten wrong actually before last night.
Lions winning 10 games.
I guess Lions win 10 games and won 9. I think you classify that one as a win.
Yeah, we'll give you that one.
I'm classifying it as, you said 10, they got 9.
Okay, fair enough.
It was a great prediction.
Yeah.
But see, I've seen you make some outlandish predict that have come true.
Yeah.
So I gotta hold you accountable to
fair
make
enough.
You great.
Okay.
Because I've seen some great ones out of you.
Fair enough. I'm going to come back strong.
Like Aiden, to me, Aiden Hutchinson's still the best one.
Yes.
Aiden Hutchinson is still the best one.
I enjoyed the hell out of that game.
That was a great one.
I really did. The only thing that pissed me off is all the missed extra points. Besides that,
as one person,
that was a hell of a game. A fun game for a guy like me to watch and enjoy. I'm happy for Dallas. They got the monkey off their back. 1993 in Candlestick Park, which doesn't exist anymore, was their last road win. That's something. Finally beat Brady. That's another thing. Scratch that. Can I change one of the stats now? Tom Brady does not have more wins than the Dallas Cowboy franchise. Let's change that now.
There is something cool that, I feel like my entire childhood, the Cowboys and the 49ers were doing battle in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's pretty cool to see that matchup once again next week.
Did you see that little throwback thing that we just put up there?
I couldn't read it.
I should have printed it.
Yeah.
There's some really good stuff on there.
Yeah, I couldn't read
what
it.
happened in 1993, the last time Dallas won.
I graduated from eighth grade. Graduated.
I moved back from Atlanta to Detroit.
How could that be?
93.
How could 93 be the last time they won a playoff game on the road?
Because they didn't have to be on the road.
They had the host, I guess.
They never were on the road. And then when they got back in like to the early 2000s, like the Romo and stuff, they were always losing.
Right.
Infamous field goal, et cetera, et cetera. But when do you want me to break down this game? Because I got some interesting insight.
Not yet. I mean, you want to break down the game?
No, it's just a little early.
Well,
we can surface it.
Yeah, I mean, we could do whatever we want today. I got John U. Bacon today talking about Michigan, so I kind of wanted to table that conversation too. I was hoping, Braylon, we could talk a little bit about Tom Brady since you mentioned Tom Brady.
Let's stick with Brady.
Look, his team sucks. Tom Brady does not suck.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was the third highest passer in the NFL this year.
That's because he threw it 1,000 times.
He had to throw it 66 times last night, too.
So you get a lot of stats that way.
And threw the 8th most touchdowns in the league. Tom Brady's going to be just fine. He is not retiring.
The 8th most touchdowns in the league without having anybody throw the ball to.
And Julio Jones, I forgot he was on the team. And as I'm watching that game last night, and with pass after pass after pass that was in the ground, that was nowhere near. I mean, he had no time to throw the football, and
so I guess we are breaking the game.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm just talking. I don't know. I'm just talking. He had no time to throw, and his receivers had zero space. That's a coaching thing too. The coaches did not do a good job this year, and Byron Leftwich got fired for it today.
Yeah, that's tough. I was gonna crack a funny joke, but I'm cracking on it. You see how he put me in my pause? I'm like, oh shoot,
pause.
No, Max texted me last night during the game in which I was asleep. He texted me during the game and said, Julio Jones, it's more like Milagro Jones.
Seriously?
Like if you go to Cancun, Milagro is that cheap-ass tequila that they give you at Senior Frogs and all those spots. It's not Don Julio. He basically was saying that Julio Jones didn't look the part anymore. But anyway, long story short, but that's been the case with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all season. Mm-hmm. That's going into this game, we knew that they stunk. Going into this game, we knew that they were 8-9 to get this placing. Let's hold off on the game. You're correct. Let's stick to Tom Brady. Where does Tom go?
I don't know, but he's going somewhere. I mean, he could go to anywhere from the Raiders to he could go to Miami. He could go back to New England. I mean, there was we'll get into it later today, but Bill O'Brien rumored to go back to New England to be the offensive coordinator there. And that's somebody who he's worked with in the past. So I think Tom Brady's got a lot of options, and he's still got a lot left in the tank, but he's clearly going to need a team that has an offensive line, has a run game, and has a decent offensive coaching staff.
Like last night, you're talking about Tom Brady, and I'll try not to break the game down. Just talk about Tom Brady. Last night, you asked Tom Brady, 46-year-old man. Like, and I get it. He plays well when he's 46. I mean, he plays well to be 46. Last year, he led the league in passing. This year, he was third and fifth. He's 46. 46 is 46. You can't ask a 46-year-old man to throw the ball 66 times. Ryan Ermanni, 66 times. Tom Brady's throw. As he's running for his life. You know what they had? They had an awful offensive line that has been a patchwork quilt all season long. Do you know they had the last ranked rushing attack in the NFL? The reason why they won a Super Bowl is because Leonard Fournette could run the ball 2 years ago. Now you have no running attack. Now you have a 46-year-old aging quarterback who you asked to throw the ball 66 times. Ryan Ermanni, they got 22 sacks on the season. That's last in the NFL, which means they don't get pressure, which means when you play a guy like Dak who's making $45 million, every once in a while he's going to get it right. He's going to get it right if he can sit in the pocket all day long, much like Georgia playing against Ohio State. Georgia had no pass rush against Ohio State. Ohio State picked them apart with C.J. Stroud. You can't ask Tom Brady to be doing more than he's already doing for you as a franchise. Tom's got to leave. Tom's got to move. We know that to be true. I think it will only be 2 spots that have a legitimate shot. I can't see him working with Belichick again. And maybe you could say Darth Vader and the evil Lord Sith, maybe they come back home together. Maybe. I just can't see it happen. I'm thinking the Miami Dolphins, because I'm thinking that ownership piece that we saw last year was a real deal. If I'm going to the Miami Dolphins, not only one do they have a great offense, 2, they have a great system in play. 3, Stephen Ross is the owner that wants to give you a piece of that too. I'm not going to pull a John Elway and turn that piece down like John Elway did. I'm taking that piece. The other piece is the 49ers. If Brock Purdy doesn't get to the Super Bowl, if Brock Purdy gets you to the Super Bowl this year, I think you find your quarterback. I think you can get rid of Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, you can figure out. But if he doesn't get to the Super Bowl, I think you bring Tom in for 1 year. And I think that'd be like Tom Brady's send-off to the league. And at the same time, that's him teaching Brock Purdy for 1 year. I think it's a good investment.
Hey, it was the Dolphins last year. That was the whole big thing.
Yeah.
That's what Stephen Ross sat out this year for. He's suspended. Dolphins had to give up a number 1 pick. They colluded. They were going to meet on the yacht of Stephen Ross, Tom Brady, and Brian Flores. Brian Flores says, no, that's collusion. Before you know it, Brian Flores sues the NFL, and that suit is still live, by the way. So if the NFL does let Stephen Ross still now bring Brady in, I'd be a little surprised, although there was a rumor last week. Matter of fact, I have it on my Around the League there. Fletch, once we grab it, the Miami Dolphin rumor with Tom Brady. That is the hottest rumor that's out there. Personally, I think the Raiders is the spot for him. Josh McDaniels is head coach, former offensive coordinator. They got a lot of the pieces there he wants. A good tight end in Darren Waller, a great receiver in Devontae Adams, and one of the best running backs as well, who led the NFL in rushing, and he's a free agent this year. So that's a great spot to me, where the Super Bowl is this year in Vegas. I think you're going to see Tom Brady on the sideline somewhere talking to Mark Davis. I think he goes to Vegas.
If I'm looking at it from Brady's point of view, like Mike Davis is not the type of owner that I will going to go play for. Like it's something about Mike Davis, and it's not the haircut. It's not. I promise you, it's not the haircut. It just doesn't rub me the right way. It's not somebody that I see Tom Brady linking and clicking with. Also, look at how Derek Carr was let go this year by a first-year head coach, and Josh McDaniels and Mike Davis let that happen. This has been Mike Davis's quarterback for the better part of 9 years, and you just let it happen like that. If I'm Tom Brady and I'm looking from the outside in, I'm like, I want to be a part of a system like that, where they treat quarterbacks like that, where they treat people like that have been the forefront. Something about the Raiders I just don't see for Tom or even Aaron. Like, I think those quarterbacks are that mystique about them, that wisdom about them. They're old enough where they can look at a situation and say, not that one. And I think that's how those two are going to look at that one. I think with San Fran, I think it's like there's no chinks in that armor. And I think with the Dolphins, I think you had the ownership piece that's very attractive for me as a guy that's 46-year-old. I'm like, and I can have a percentage. I ain't talking about one of those Miami Dolphin percentages that they give Serena and Venus and Julio Iglesias and all that. I'm talking about a real piece of the pie. That's tough.
And there's definitely a relationship there with Stephen Ross. I don't think Tom Brady would look at any situation and say, though, that I'm concerned how they treated Derek Carr, who's been there for 9 years, because I got to believe Brady's just going year by year at this point. He wants to see how much control he could have within a 1 year time limit. And I'll tell you this much too:
respect, though.
As far as the story goes, the script, what better way to end it than the way Tom Brady really started it, with the tuck rule against the Raiders. Can you imagine if he ultimately comes back
full circle
to win a Super Bowl with the Raiders after really costing them one to get it all started? We'll see how that plays out. Plenty of time to talk about it. Hey, Jim Harbaugh's coming back. John U. Bacon going to help us talk about it. But first, a message from Custom Health Centers. They take the willpower out of weight loss. Over 20,000 success stories. Custom Health Center has helped people out in their journey in losing weight, whether it's 20 pounds or 120 pounds. Custom Health Centers has the solution for you. They've helped so many different professionals. You can start losing weight today by calling Dr. Jason at Custom Health Centers, 844-789-THIN, 844-789-THIN.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Matrix Home Solutions is your go-to for any home project. Looking for that new man cave? Well, Matrix has you covered. They are your basement remodel experts that also specialize in bathrooms and kitchens as well. With an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, why not give them a try? Call them today at 888-594-8844 or go to matrixhomesolutions.com.
Matrix Home Solutions. Hey, everybody. If you didn't hear the news yesterday, Santa Ono, the president of the University of Michigan, put out a tweet on social media, said, I just got off the phone with Coach Harbaugh, and Jim shared with me the great news that he is going to remain as head coach of the University of Michigan Wolverines. That is fantastic news, and I have communicated to our athletic director, Warde Manuel. Go Blue. Jim Harbaugh then has come out with a statement. I love the relationships that I have at Michigan, coaches, staff, families, administration, President Santa Ono, and especially the players and their families. My heart is at University of Michigan. I once heard a wise man say, don't try to out-happy, go Blue. John U. Bacon, as maybe you have noticed, one of the first things that I noticed was that neither Jim Harbaugh did not publicly thank Warde Manuel, or Santa Ono said, hey, Jim called me. Let me know. And I let Warde Manuel know that discussion. You saw what John U. Bacon had to say on the tweet there, which it does seem a little curious. Let's take this in pieces. First and foremost, Jim Harbaugh coming back to the University of Michigan. I think that's something we all believed. If you listen to the players, Ermanni and Edwards said it yesterday as much. Look, Jim's told us he was coming back, so this is all just noise.
Blake Corum decided to come back for his 5th year or his 4th year. That doesn't happen if he doesn't know that Jim Harbaugh is coming back. I think we have Johnny Bacon, so let's pin it and just bring him in, Ryan. Bring in John.
Oh, is he here? Is he with us? Oh, good. Okay, John U. Bacon with us? Hey, John.
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Hey,
how you doing?
Right.
Well, I got to tell you, John, let me, first of all, thank you. I know you were on vacation.
He just got out of the ocean.
And you have taken the time to be on the show today. So first and foremost, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Ryan. My pleasure, of course.
Happy New Year, big guy.
Yeah, likewise. We say that till about what, February, I think?
Well, this is the first time I've talked to you in a minute, John. This is a friend of yours, okay? I'm talking to you, man.
Hey, John, let me ask you, because I don't think I paid attention to this Jim Harbaugh to the NFL stuff until you tweeted out a couple of weeks ago that there might be some legitimacy to this. Now that he's back at Michigan, where do you think this has gone over the last couple of weeks and ultimately ending up back at the University of Michigan?
Well, you kind of ended up back where you started, obviously. But when I tweeted that out about 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, my distinction was that for 6 or 7 years, we always heard these rumors, and there's always nothing to them. NFL teams might have been interested, but Jim was not answering, was not interested. There's no two-way communication whatsoever. It's mainly people looking for clicks, things like that, just silly stuff. Obviously, last year that was different when he publicly told the players, the recruits, the staff, the media that he was pursuing an NFL job, flies to Minnesota publicly, does not get the job, does not get the offer, and then comes back and wants to stay. This time, the difference was it was kind of in between. It was not him pursuing the NFL, but it was him listening, and his people, his agent and so on, listening to what the NFL had to say. That was different than what we saw the first 5 or 6 years, and he was taking it seriously, and things with the Broncos especially were warming up. So it could have gone that direction, I think, frankly, unless Santa Ono, the new president at Michigan, had gotten involved.
And then we go there. Talk about this relationship between the Michigan president and Jim Harbaugh. This Santa Ono, I'll tell you, John, I don't know what your experience is with him. I've been so impressed by this guy since even before he stepped on foot at the University of Michigan.
Oh, you got it exactly right. What struck me when they named him in August, and he got on board in October, I believe. No, they named him in June, I think. But anyway, I did not know I had any Cincinnati Bearcat followers, but I'll be doggone. When Ono was named, I must have gotten dozens of unsolicited tweets from Cincinnati alums who said, "You're going to love this guy." And that's after he'd already left 5 years earlier for the previous job in Vancouver for the University of British Columbia. So that he had that kind of pull with those guys, that impressed me. Obviously, he's a master of social media in a way that President Schlitzel was kind of the opposite. And, of course, you know, he's been everywhere. He's been to the Washington Dairy and the Brown Jug and you name it. But he also recognizes, perhaps more than any president, maybe ever, in Michigan history, we'll see, the value of a winning football program and a respected football program. That is your front porch, and that helps everything. So Mary Sue Coleman was very much aligned with that, but this guy seems to be another level entirely.
I'm glad you said that, John. You making I was on a statement, and then I had a question. The statement was along the same line, like with Santa Ono, having a chance to meet him in that Penn State Michigan game. Like, he's a guy that's just fun loving, loves being out in the open, loves talking about Michigan football. He understands what Michigan football does. Like, I've never seen a president like this out in the open and this excited and this, I guess you would say, fun loving guy. Mary Sue was great, but Mary Sue wasn't any Santa Ono. But here's a serious question now. What is the relationship like with Harbaugh and Warde Manuel right now? Because there seems to be some frictions just going off social media.
That, I think, is a serious question. I don't have the whole story. And to get into that kind of waters, I have to have two sources for anything I'm going to tell you next. So I probably know more than I'm going to let on right here, but
Understood.
I don't know enough. But we do know this from a few different people. I mean, these were teammates. At first, Jim and Ward, when they were athletic director and coach after Jim Hackett stepped down, first year or two were okay, but not great. But then they really hit their stride. They were, I think, quite close for 3 or 4 years. And the 2020 situation kind of ended that. Now, Ward has to be given credit that when Jim was 2-4, if you did a poll of Michigan alums and fans, I'm not sure if he wins that poll and come back. So Ward went against many of his old teammates, you know, friends, alums, and so on, some donors perhaps, to re-sign Jim for 2021. That was obviously the right move.
Right.
That team goes 12-2 and smokes Ohio State for the first time since about Braylon Edwards era, I think, just about. So there we go. That was clearly a good move, but the contract, I think, stuck in Jim's craw. And then last year, again, Jim publicly went for the Minnesota Vikings job. When he came back, he said, "I'll be here as long as you'll have me." And Ward had no problem with that. Obviously a better contract. So where exactly it lies, you know, how it all came to be, I can't quite say. But I do know they basically have not talked since May. Wow. And that is pretty serious. Yeah, I mean, look, Dave Brandon, you know, as I've written, made some mistakes, but one quote he nailed, and that is that if all your eggs are in one basket, you better watch that basket very carefully. And there's no question, Braylon, you know this.
Yeah.
I mean, at Michigan, look, it's a good basketball school, and God bless Juwan Howard. It's a good hockey school, good baseball school, good softball
Football school, baby.
But football pays all those bills, pretty much. So you got to watch that one. And, you know, Jim and Ward being that far apart was evident in the tweets last night from Jim and from Ono saying, you know, thanks to the other guy with no mention, barely any mention of Warde Manuel, and nothing from Ward himself either. So that is conspicuous.
John, that's exactly what my next question was going to be. So many times in the media, we can blow things up that, you know, or really focus on something that where there's no smoke. But that did seem very odd to me yesterday that Jim Harbaugh did not mention Warde Manuel, and then Santa Ono said, "Yeah, Jim called me." So maybe there is something. Maybe there is something to that. You perhaps answered my question there in your previous answer.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases we're right. Usually, I think all of us, you guys do a very good job at Woodward. We're more in the habit of throwing buckets of water on rumors than we are feeding them. Because usually that's where it belongs. And look, you guys talk on TV, I talk on the radio. I've said plenty of dumb things where, no, I didn't mean it that way, and that's selective hearing and blah, blah, blah. But when you send out prepared statements, maize and blue, clearly scripted, carefully rendered statements, and both of them, barely mention Warde. Yeah. That is not an accident. So that is not a flippant, off-the-cuff comment. That is now.
Hey, John, it's Maz. Thanks again for coming on with us. I got a question on the NIL going forward. Do you think, is there something with the NIL that's between Jim and Warde? Is that maybe a sticking point?
That is a sticking point, and it has been for a while. You might even recall Juwan Howard, and Juwan Howard and Warde are very close. Warde hired Juwan Howard, of course. So that was a fielded press conference. Even Juwan Howard, this time last year, mentioned in a prepared tweet that, Michigan's kind of behind.
Yeah.
And that, was kind of a last resort message saying, give us help. That's been the same friction, I think, between Warde Manuel and Jim. I know Warde is philosophically against NIL for the NCAA, and I get the reasoning. There's pros and cons to everything. This will change, obviously, some of the things that we love about college football, and it won't change others, and it'll make some other things better, obviously, but Warde is not that big on it. But he did send out a message 3 weeks ago that they're doing more on the NIL front. There are 4 groups out there kind of sanctioned by Michigan to do so, and since that email went out to the public, they raised another $7 or $8 million from that alone. So they are picking up speed. And look, the guys, remaining, you guys mentioned this before I got on, Blake Corum, all these guys, Zinter and so on, that's a pretty loaded bunch coming back, all of whom could have jumped pretty much, I think, 6 or 7 guys. One factor there is NIL, and the other factor there is probably Harbaugh. So that has been a point of friction. I think Warde is catching up on that front, and maybe pretty quickly. But that has been a nagging issue between Harbaugh and Warde to this point.
Last question for you, John. Last year, I believe Jim Harbaugh was the 4th highest paid coach in the Big Ten, 12th highest paid coach in college football. What will a new contract command for Jim Harbaugh? Does he want to be the highest paid coach in the Big Ten?
I've heard that he does not want to be the highest paid coach in the Big Ten, and if I were him, I wouldn't want to be either, because that guy's always a target.
Right.
I'd rather. And by the way, keep in mind, I'm a writer. I have no idea what the difference is between $10 million a year and $11 million a year. That's not my neighborhood. But man, tell me this: if you're sitting on $40-50 million, and it's $1 million more, can you really feel that? I don't know. I'd rather be number 2 or 3 and not take the grief of the point man. So I don't think. I'll tell you what. It's going to be more than it was last time. The biggest thing is how much are going to be guaranteed, how much he's going to get for his coaches, what the buyout's going to be. So we all focus on the main number, but that's not going to be the sticking point here, I don't think. It'll be those other things: assistant coaches, buyouts, guaranteed, how long, all those things. And those things are all pointing in Jim's directions. My guess is this will be in the $10 to $11 million range, which will put him right up there. But I don't think it'll surpass Day with that. We'll see. But he'll be in the top 5 nationwide after this.
Last one for me, John. How was that loss to TCU reverberated into Ann Arbor? And we haven't had a chance to really talk to you about this and going forward into next season.
Well, I guess if you're looking for the silver lining to the contract renegotiation 2nd year in a row, is that who the hell remembers TCU? So, no one's talking about that now. That is the one game all season long, 14 games, where I thought Michigan got outcoached. In much the same way Michigan thoroughly outcoached Ohio State. Talk to Braylon, talk to the guys who know the game better than I do. But when you have 3 turnovers that you can pinpoint 21 points and you still have a shot at the end, you're the better team, and it's not close. Just some mistakes, obviously some execution issues, some play calling issues. Yeah, it's a bit of a drag, but the silver lining to that also is this. Last year, when they played Georgia, that was men versus boys. And we see their defensive tackle chase down Blake Corum. You're like, whoa, that is a different level of football we're looking at. This year, I thought Michigan was definitely better than TCU, and if Ohio State can get in a dogfight with Georgia, you got to believe Michigan could have too. So I think the gap there has shrunk, even though the results are about the same. So I think going forward, you get those guys back. You get Harbaugh back. You get NIL working the transfer portal. Michigan is now working pretty hard because their recruiting class is okay but not great. That's a team next year that's got another shot, a real shot, at a national title.
Good to hear.
It's analysis that is second to none, and that's why we wanted him on. He's on vacation, so we want everybody that's listening to this right now to go to the website, letthemleadbybacon.com, and buy the book, New York Times bestseller.
Let them lead.
Let them lead. Letthemleadbybacon.com. Everybody buy a book now. John, you on vacation.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us, my friend.
Hey, my pleasure. My boys, a lesser show, I would not have said yes.
By the way,
buddy.
John, my mom told me to tell you she loves you.
Hey, I'll take that all day. Thank you. That's very nice.
We love you too.
Thanks. John U. Bacon, New York Times best-selling author, public speaker, radio commentator. Letthemleadbybacon.com. Go buy his latest book, Let Them Lead. Going to take a break. Lots to chew on there. So much to chew on there. But first, a message from Fairway Packing, my favorite place. Oh, one of them certainly on this universe. My love for Fairway Packing Company. Looking for a way to elevate your dinner? Family owned and operated since 1956. You can try the Burrata Burger Blend. I'm actually having that tonight for dinner. Award-winning Chop House steaks, or you can impress your friends with dry-aged Wagyu Tomahawk steak. We still one of the top chefs in the country. Choose Fairway. Visit their steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods on Mack Avenue, or you can order online or ship anywhere. Visit fairwaypacking.com. Fairwaypacking.com. Sourced, cut, aged, packed to perfection.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Swiss Insurance Group and their employees are heavily involved in their community. It is very rewarding, but it comes at a heavy price and responsibility. If you sit on a local youth sports board, homeowners association, or you volunteer as a coach, directors and officers insurance is a must. That's why you got to make sure the kids, the parents, the volunteer, and the community are taken care of. You know how you do that? You turn to market Swiss Insurance Group. Swiss Insurance Group, let us represent you.
So there you go, lots to chew on there. Jim Harbaugh back in Ann Arbor for 2023 and beyond. We think, one of the quotes from the statement that he said yesterday is, why try to
out happy.
And it's just kind of like grass isn't always greener on the other side. I like that quote, actually, because you never know. Everybody thinks it's so great over at X, Y, and Z, and then you forget about A, B, and C. But nonetheless, I thought one of the most shocking things that John Yu said.
That you heard him actually on the phone?
Yeah,
was that the shocking
Yes,
thing?
that was the shocker. But was that Jim Harbaugh and Warde Manuel have not spoken since May.
Wow.
Now,
Wrote it down.
I don't know what the normal protocol is on stuff like that, but I cannot imagine that there's not even like a, hey, pop down the hallway at Schembechler and say hi, let's talk for 5 minutes. I understand there's, maybe from August to January, there's not a whole lot of conversation that takes place because that's the football season. But my goodness,
I think you would talk once a week.
I know that to me is shocking. I'm shocked by that.
When I was at the University of Michigan, Bill Martin, who was the AD at the time,
great guy. I love Bill Martin.
Bill's my guy.
Yeah,
Bill's my guy. Bill's the AD. Mary Sue Coleman became the president. I saw them at least twice a week. I saw them twice a week. I saw Mary Sue Coleman. I've heard conversations. I've been in Lloyd's office when he's talking to Mary Sue Coleman. He had a great relationship. It's not normal for you to go 8 months. It's not normal. In fact, you're most connected at the hip August through January, because this is when football season. This is when you take care of the university. This is when the university makes the bulk of their money. Like, they're connected at the hip. The fact that they aren't talking, especially after you listen to Johnny Bacon, and I knew this, especially, we wanted, like, a lot of former guys, they were on the side that the time had run its course. I think that's the best way to say it. The time had run its course. In terms of Jim Harbaugh, University of Michigan, this is very true. Warde went against the grain and kept Jim Harbaugh. Now, it paid out well for Warde Manuel. It paid out well for the University of Michigan, first and foremost, the football team, and then Jim Harbaugh. But Warde stuck his neck out. And this is, just having a thought. I'm just thinking. Warde stuck his neck out and kept Jim, despite what a lot of people were saying. Keeps Jim, and it works well. They come back, they renegotiate the contract, and they haven't talked since May. The contract renegotiation was like April, around that time when it was renegotiated. What happened with Jim and Warde in that meeting, from me sticking my neck out for you to now you're thinking about leaving and going to the NFL, to now you don't have anywhere to go because the Minnesota thing didn't come back and now you have to work. I wonder how heated that meeting got when they were redoing that contract, because you're talking about the same time period. If you do the timeline from Warde bringing Jim back to then Jim entertaining the NFL to them renegotiating the deal, that all happened within February to May. And now they haven't spoken since May. What happened in that negotiating meeting?
It sounds like he insulted Jim to me. That's what it sounds like to me.
Why can't it be the other way around, though? Like, I stick my neck out for you. I bring you back when people don't, when some people, the people that are mostly in my ear, my alumni association, my regents or whatever, I'm kind of like, I'm just playing it out. Like, I stick my neck out for you, and then you up and try to leave, and then because you can't leave, now I got to bring you back. Now I got to renegotiate your contract because you. So I'm just kind of playing it out like that. So I don't know who's in the wrong, but
Matt, you have you finish your thought. I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this. Yeah,
I believe that he kind of told Jim, take it or leave it. This is what I'm giving you. Take it or leave it. Prove yourself. And if you haven't talked since then, to me, that's where it all broke down.
Look, this is very simple.
When you lose,
the prove yourself was a year before that. The prove yourself was.
But when they take money away from somebody, an employee,
right,
that's there. That's a guy that bleeds Michigan,
right,
bleeds maize and blue, and you take money away from him. You emasculate him, and then you expect him to work for you and be friends with you.
But that happened a year before. I'm just trying to get you on the right timeline. Basically, when they renegotiated to take money from Jim, that would have been 2021. That would have been going into the 2021 season.
Okay.
He said they haven't spoken since May of 2022.
Okay.
Once he did the Vikings deal, and then they paid him more.
I got you.
But still nowhere near where.
So maybe my timeline is off, but I think there's some type of insult going there between these two guys.
And it could have been lasting from that that time.
True.
Absolutely.
You're
absolutely.
Right, that's what you kept saying last year. Yeah. That demasculation is what you thought.
It just could be it could be that, and there could also be a power thing too. Look, nobody knows who the athletic director is.
Yeah.
If you're an athletic director, you gotta know that your football coach or your basketball coach, wherever, they're your bosses. It ain't the other way around.
Right.
So, Jim Harbaugh and Juwan Howard, that's Warde Manuel's boss at the end of the day. Because when people look at Michigan football, when people look at Michigan basketball, we know who Warde Manuel is in this state.
Right.
I guarantee you nobody in Ohio State, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Minnesota could tell you. I can tell you the football coach at Minnesota is P.J. Fleck, but I can't tell you who his athletic director is. I don't even know who the athletic director is at Ohio State.
Used to be Gene Smith. I think
used to be Gene Smith.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still is or not, but he was in the position for like 20 friggin' years too. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, power's a real thing, and if this NIL thing is a hiccup, which by all accounts it seems like it's a major thing. Juwan Howard.
It is to Juwan.
It is to Juwan. This is basketball. Yeah. You got five guys you need to get essentially.
Here's a question I asked, and it fits in well with what you're talking about right now. It was NIL where Jim and Warde were on the same page originally, correct? They said we're not transactional, we're transformational. Is it possible that along the way Warde now likes NIL or wants NIL or understands the value of NIL more, and Jim is still stuck in the?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because it seems like that Warde was backing Jim's play originally with the NIL.
I mean, being in media as long as I am, I'm always skeptical of what I hear anyway. Yeah. And what we talk about in this room over here. We could yell and scream and shout, but when we come out here, we're going to have a united front. So maybe that was Jim's. I don't have NIL, so I got to come out here and say, we're a transactional.
The company line.
Yeah, the company line. As an employee, you got to toe the company line a lot of times. So maybe that was the case. I don't think that Jim Harbaugh is in this to continuously lose to SEC teams or lose to Ohio State. I just don't think he's in it for that. And I don't think Juwan Howard is in it to barely make the tournament year after year. Right. I think these guys are at Michigan because they believe it's a place they could win. And by winning, I mean like national championship. So this NIL is a real thing. And teams that didn't have a shot before now have a shot because of NIL, and you better get your ducks in a row when it comes to that. If it is Warde Manuel that is shy about going in this direction, I don't understand it, because either
can't the president trump him?
Well, that's kind of what Santa Ono feels like it's happening right now.
It sounds like he's the AD as well.
Yeah, it seems what Harbaugh is kind of leaning towards to use his power and understanding what Santa Ono is in terms of understand. Santa Ono understands that football is key. Football is king. So it seems like he's working on that relationship. I will tell you this: regardless of who's at fault, regardless of who's in the wrong, both of these guys are on contracts that extend past 2024. And Santa Ono is a new kid in town. All three of you guys better take a page from the Detroit Lions, and you better get on the same page real quick. Because this not talking for 8 months stuff, this not being like talking with your AD because he's a former football. You realize they're teammates, right? You realize they played on the same team in the 80s. So them knowing each other and their competition level or their ego level dates back some years. I need you guys to figure it out. You got to figure it out, because you can't beat Georgia or Alabama. Hell, you can't continuously beat Ohio State if this is what's going on behind closed doors. You guys aren't built for that. I need you guys to put your big boy pants on and figure this what out.
You want to know what Santa Ono sees? And what?
Two children that have the keys to a freaking Bentley?
Well, when did Nick Saban get to Alabama?
2008.
2008.
9, yeah.
Just to highlight it for you, the student enrollment at the University of Alabama in the year 2000, that was just 20 years ago, in the year 2000, 19,318. You know what that student enrollment is today?
40.
38,645. More than 19 to 38, double.
And you know why that is?
And because Alabama has a good football team. So as people talk about
the best,
people talk about what does a football team have, why does a president care so much about the football team? That's why.
I got kids that went to St. Joan of Arc School in St. Clair Shores, went to Lakeview High School, De La Salle, and you know where a lot of these kids are going? They're going to Alabama. I know 6 kids at Alabama here from the Shores.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn good.
Because you watch the national championship every freaking year.
Right.
You watch Nick Saban in every freaking Geico commercial, or Aflac commercial, and you know what you want to say, Ryan and Monty, and you want it to mean something. You want to say Roll Tide.
That's it.
Yeah.
You want that to be your college
You want that to be
experience.
you.
Hell
You
yeah.
want that to be your college experience. So it's an investment, as John Bacon said. The football program is the front door of your institution.
Amen.
And that is why presidents care so much about the sports teams. All right, we are going to get back to the NFL. We'll do that next, but first a message from SMA.
The Sports Market Agency helps spread awareness about mental health, mental issues, as well as substance use disorder. And their podcast, This is the S Word, and S Word stands for stigma, because we are trying to destigmatize mental health, destigmatize substance abuse as well. They go hand in hand, and you add post-traumatic stress syndrome in there with that, and it's a cocktail that we all don't need. You go to thesportsma.com. That's where you find the information. That's where you have the conversations about understanding it's okay to not be okay, but what do you do next? You go to thesportsma.com.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hey gang, it's Maz for Cousins Maine Lobster, and those lobster trucks are rolling around Metro Detroit. You want to know where they are, so get to cousinsmainelobster.com right now. Download their app, check out that schedule, and get that phone call and find out where they're going to be, because if they're in your neighborhood, you're in for some treats. I mean, we were in for some treats here at Woodward Sports and Lady Jane's just about a month and a half ago. They just rolled into town here, and we ate like kings and queens. All the lobster that you want, fresh and delicious. Lobster, cousinsmainelobster.com. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Guys, we talked a lot about Tampa Bay and Tom Brady in the first segment of the show, and I want to focus on the Cowboys now, if we could, because that was as
How about them Cowboys?
That was as impressive a performance, Braylon, as we have seen all weekend long by a team in all 6 games.
So this is what I want to do as it relates to the Cowboys. Just come off, give them a lot of love. First of all, let's give love to Kellen Moore. Because Kellen Moore is a guy that I talked about had disappeared. We hadn't mentioned his name since last year. We said we hadn't mentioned him. He hadn't showed up. He hadn't shown that offense that he had put on display last year to a 2021 season. Man, did he show up. He put Zach in good position. They ran the ball early with Tony Pollard, had some success. They threw. If you notice the throws they made, they were safe throws. They weren't trusting Dak to go deep or go deep post or play action with it. They were nice and tight throws. They were inside seam throws. They were quick slant throws. They were underneath throws. They were quick stuff in between the hashes, keeping Dak on point, keeping Dak on pace, keeping Dak confident. One thing that you got to do going into the playoffs, especially later rounds, like they play the 49ers coming up, and you know what that team has. You got to get your quarterback confident. You got to make this quarterback that you pay $45 million to, he has to be confident going into the games, and I think Kellen Moore did a great job of that. They played well on defense. Like Micah Parsons was very physical. That's Tom's boy. He was out there. Trayvon Diggs. Like the secondary was right. They play a great game. Dak Prescott on the first touchdown to Dalton Schultz. You'll notice he goes through 3 reads, but it's not really 3 reads. It's to hold the safety. He comes far left. That's to keep the safety over here. Then he comes left seam. That's to keep the safety frozen. He already know Dalton Schultz is wide open, but he set him up. Boom, boom, and bang, his Dalton Schultz. That's picture perfect. All that hip stuff that he does before the game, it finally paid off. It looked amazing. But now can we be on the opposite, the honest side of things? It was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who stunk. They stunk all year. I told you going to the game.
They didn't deserve to be there.
Thank you. They did not deserve to be there. They were last in pass rush. They were last in rushing the football. Yes, Tom Brady's efficient, but not their team. That was about the 19th different variation of a starting offensive line that they've had all year. They were not supposed to be there, and that's what you do to inferior teams. That's what Coach Carr taught me at Michigan. When you play inferior teams, you show them they're inferior. Dallas played like they were supposed to play against a team who, by the way, isn't over 500, but they won their division because their division stunk. With that being said, this was very good for the Cowboys going into the 49ers because, Maz, you know, it ain't going to be that type of game playing up against that team, the 49ers. But I use aim for effect.
I'll tell you, the Cowboys last night impressed me. I loved the offense, the way, the up-tempo, getting out of the huddle, getting to the line with 24 seconds, 23 seconds. Yeah. And if he had to change the play, he had plenty of time to do it. Listen, man, I like Zeke. He's finished. He's finished. Continue to feed the ball to Tony Pollard if you want any chance to hang in with the 49ers. Get the ball to CeeDee Lamb more. They were throwing to T.Y. Hilton in the beginning of the game. T.Y. Hilton, this guy's off the scrap heap. 2 years he didn't play. He's playing now. He's looking good. Who stepped out of bounds in the end zone? The one receiver. Gallup. Man, that was close.
Yeah.
But Dak looked like, I thought he played the best game of his career.
He did.
5 touchdowns, 1 on the ground on that 4th down call. Great call by Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy. The Cowboys, they could give the 49ers a run. Now, I picked the Niners as my Super Bowl, but Dallas will play with them until the end. That game is a 3-point game, if you ask me, if Dallas plays like they did. Dalton Schultz he has like 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games, so they're starting to use the tight end more. I just like what they do. Put up Micah Parsons' stats from last night. He was everywhere, and he was playing the second half on one leg because he took a shot to his calf at the end of the first half. Look at those. He was everywhere.
9
everywhere.
pressures. 9 pressures. Second most by any player in a game this season. He had 10 back in week 2. He wrecked the game. He is a wrecking ball, this guy.
He is.
The Cowboys, after this game, I will say this. Cowboys are probably in the best position in the NFC. And the reason why I say that is this. They can beat the 49ers. Let's be honest. They're
the only team that could.
And that's why I was just about to say, let's be honest and let's give Dallas this benefit of the doubt, which they don't deserve, that this is how they can play up until February 10th or whenever Super Bowl is 11. This is the only team in the NFC that can beat the 49ers. Like that, they're in the best position. If you look at the teams that are left, the Giants, they know that team. The Eagles, they know that team. They almost beat that team with Cooper Rush as their quarterback. And then the 49ers, they want payback for that debacle that they put on last year. So
that was
they're in a very good position after this win last night in the NFC.
What about the NFC East? By the way,
3 teams.
You know, this is one of the things, and we talk about it. That's why I was so disappointed about the Lions not making the playoffs, because every year is so unique to the year that you're in. Every year's a different year. Last year, the NFC East was atrocious. We looked at that schedule all off season and said, "Oh, you get to play the NFC East this year." Now, fast forward 12 months. And there's 3 teams in the NFC wild card. 3 out of 4 come from the NFC East. What a year it is for that division.
You know, I love when you asked this question. You asked about, you felt robbed. And the reason why you said you felt robbed is what you just said. You said, this NFC's wide open. If the Lions get in, who the hell are the Lions scared of? Are they scared of the Eagles? No. Are they scared of the Giants? No. Are they scared of Seattle? No. You get the picture. They're not scared.
Dallas either.
100%. They almost beat Dallas.
Yeah.
Until, a hell of a play.
And that was Dak's first game back.
A hell of a play by Micah Parsons, kind of took away that game. But you know what I'm starting to realize, Ryan? This is like in 2000s, the East in the basketball and the West in basketball. The West was dominated. They were going to win every title every year. It was either going to be the Spurs or the Lakers. Hell, it could have even been Sacramento or it could have been the Kings. But they own the East. It's like now, this year is a winnable East. NFC. Ryan, last year was a winnable NFC. Tom Brady with no offensive lineman almost beat Matt Stafford, the eventual Super Bowl winners, in the second round of the playoff. What I'm noticing right now, the NFC seems like, for the window being, it's open. Yeah. Like outside of one team, every year you have one team. But even that one team last year, the Rams, they were beatable. So I just think the NFC is in prime real estate for the Detroit Lions, because next year They'll have more draft picks. They'll have more free agency pickups. They'll have a team that they can say, this is us. Like last year, no, that wasn't us. We're undermanned. This year, we're getting close. Like this year coming up, 2023, the Lions will put a product on the field and for the first time say, this is us. This is what we told you we'll do. What did Dan Campbell say? It will take how many years?
3.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're entering year 3.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And look, it just kind of makes you freaking.
It's sad.
Yeah, because you watch these games and you're like, damn, I think they could have really competed. I think they could have gotten to the Super Bowl. Neither here nor there.
And you don't know what next year is going to be.
That's right.
Because this team came together and was healthy at the right time. They peaked at the right time. Had they not stubbed their toe against Carolina, they're here, and who knows what's going on.
Just a quick thing on the Dallas 49ers game. A lot of people, Tony Dungy included, I've heard this a lot over social media over the last couple of days, even before the game yesterday, that the winner of the Tampa-Dallas game would have a competitive disadvantage against the San Francisco 49ers because of this new Super Wild Card Monday night football game. And if it was Dallas, you travel on Monday night, then you essentially lose a day of travel there. Then you've got to travel to San Francisco. This is a tough turnaround for that team. Do you believe it's a competitive disadvantage for the Cowboys?
It is a competitive disadvantage because you don't have your regular work week. Everything in NFL, everything in successful corporations, and I use corporations because the NFL is a corporation. Everything in successful corporations, team management-wise, it's all scheduled. It's scheduled. Like the consistency of a schedule is how you build success. It's how you build consistency. So when you have a schedule, when you look at the 49ers play on Sunday. The 49ers are at home. They get the rest Monday. They're off Tuesday. They come in. Their regular schedule planning is going on. With the Cowboys had to travel Sunday to Tampa. They played the game Monday night. They flew Monday night back to Dallas. Now they're going to have to miss that day off. They're going to have to squish Wednesday into Tuesday together, try to work those together. So we're not going to give you off, but we're not going to give you a full work day as well. So you got to squeeze that in there. Then you actually work out Wednesday. Now you're Thursday. Now you're traveling. So, yeah, it is a disadvantage. It is something that sucks. But the other side of that is it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to add that to your store.
They shouldn't have to do it, though.
No, they shouldn't have to. You're right.
We enjoy as Monday night game.
No, to answer your question, yes, it is a competitive disadvantage. The answer is yes. But on the flip side, it's a chance for Dallas to add that to the store, say we had to do this and we had to come here and we had to play the unbeatable. At the end of the day, Dak, this is your third time in the playoffs. This is Brock Purdy's first. I would use that as much as I could if I was Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy. Like, yeah, he's playing great. He's 7-0 and all that. At the end of the day, he's a rookie.
Hey, did you guys see the ManningCast last night, by the way?
I saw Dion and Dan Campbell.
All right, let's talk about that Dan Campbell thing real quick if we could. But first, a message from the Folding Warehouse.
Oh, here we go. The little Folding Warehouse down in Hamtramck, Michigan. And Chris Hutt, the inventor of this great game of football and bowling. 2 ways to play it. $12 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation. 10 or 12 people on a lane for 2 hours. Run you only $120 for all of them. So chip in and less than $10 a head. How about the bar? The multiple full bars, so any drink you want, get your Moscow Mule, get your vodka tonic, whatever the heck you want, you got it. It's right there. Over 100 beers to offer and the $2 mystery beer machine to boot. Bring your own food in or have it delivered. Get your fold on at foldingwarehouse.com.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh, wait, it's 2 for $4. Got to double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, JB.
Yeah, JB here letting you know about Planet Fitness and how there are official studio sponsors here at Woodward Sports. But also, they're home to the judgment-free zone where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere for only $10 a month. Or do yourself a favor and upgrade to the Black Card with unlimited guest privileges, hydro massage, and so much more in club. You got to join in club today, or you can always check them out at planetfitness.com. But don't go anywhere.
We're not going anywhere, JB.
Because I have to tell you about the Monroe Street Midway. The holidays are over with, I know this, but the Midway is still going on strong, and you got to get down there and check out the winter bumper cars, the indoor arcade, putt-putt, and of course, you got to go and check out the food. It's amazing down there. They've got the mac and cheese bites, the burgers, the pierogies, the homemade chili, chicken sandwiches, not to mention gluten-free and vegan options, so they're covering all the bases down there as well. But coming soon, it's the Woodward Sports Winter Olympics. You will be able to compete with the likes of Darren McCarty, Braylon Edwards, Adam Baydoun, Ryan Ermanni.
You don't want no smoke
Maz
from me
will be
either.
down there as well. I'm sure you don't want no smoke from Maz.
How about Santa? Is he coming?
I think Santa
Next
is
year.
fast. Next year.
I'm at Santa Ono.
Next year we'll be there. Yeah, that's a good one too, man.
He's a real Santa around here.
I know, right? The heavyweights will also be down there as well for the Monroe Street Midway Games. Check it out at deckedoutdetroit.com for more information, and we will see you at the Midway.
Hour number 2, Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on fox2detroit.com, we say thank you for that. I wanted to ask you guys if we could put a sock in it, if we could. Just bury this phrase. Bury a word, really. I'd like to bury the word. That's kneecaps. The ManningCast last night, I thought the entire... First of all, I was completely bored by Dan Campbell's appearance on the ManningCast.
This was horrible.
And I think a lot of that was due to the way Peyton and Eli started the introduction of Dan Campbell. This is not year one or the first month after a press conference. I mean, they introduced him as... Hey, the guy said kneecaps at a press conference. And, you know, kneecaps this and kneecaps that. Are you biting any kneecaps, Dan? I mean, it's like, dude, enough.
You can tell he's done with it, too.
He's done with it. Can we retire that phrase? I feel at this point, it's just lazy, too. I mean, pay attention. The Lions had one of the greatest turnarounds in the history of the NFL from a team that started 1-6 to a team that finished with 9 wins to go 8-2 after going 1-6. I mean, how about say something about that?
What the way I took the interview, and this is the way Dan Campbell should take it. And I'm actually glad it happened for Dan Campbell. Everybody in Detroit thinks that the Detroit Lions are the nation's new darlings when it comes to the NFL. Everybody thinks the Lions have the best story. Everybody in Detroit, we think that everybody outside Detroit is watching the Detroit Lions, and everybody is riveted by the Detroit Lions, and everybody is like, go Dan Campbell, and go Amon-Ra St. Brown, and the Jamal Williams story, and Naruto, and all that. I'm going to tell you like this. Last night was a reminder that outside of Detroit, the world still does not give a damn about the Detroit Lions. The story was great as it was happening, but they didn't didn't get into the playoff. So everybody doesn't care about how they finished because you know what the bottom line is. They didn't get in. So guys like Eli's not a host. Eli's not an interviewer. Eli is his goofy self, which I love. I love him dearly. We spent time together when I was in New York. I got him in the club. That's a whole nother story. I love Eli. Eli's not going on there doing research and coming on and giving you a riveting interview. I don't know why I keep using that word riveting, by the way. And then Peyton.
But at least they're entertaining with Deion Sanders.
Well, it's Deion. Yeah. And they know Deion. And it's Deion. Like, anybody can be entertained.
They don't know Dan Campbell.
They don't know
Did
Dan
Eli
Campbell.
play with Dan?
They didn't take the time. He was on the team. Yeah. That don't mean you played with him. There's a lot of guys I was on the team with that I don't know. So they didn't take the time to do the homework to really see what's some good questions we can ask Dan Campbell. What does he know? They don't know these things because they don't follow Dan Campbell fully. I'm glad it happened because that lets you know, Detroit, until you get out here and really win some games, until you win your division, until you get to the playoff, people aren't really fully going to take you serious. And I'm glad the players saw that because now it's time to get in the gym. Now it's time to get in the lab. Now it's time to realize we got close, but it ain't no awards for getting close. And I'm glad that happened. But to your point, it was horrible. And I wish they would have done a better job. But I also don't place a lot of stake in it because it's Peyton and Eli. It's not like he was getting interviewed by Louis Riddick or somebody with more cachet.
Yeah, and it wasn't supposed to be, though. It was supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be
like... They didn't make
it fun
for you.
Yeah, they didn't make it fun for him.
Yeah.
That's really what it wasn't supposed to be, a serious sit-down interview with Louis Riddick.
Fun.
It was, hey, let's watch the game together and talk about the game and have some fun. I just was totally underwhelmed by it, and I think, Maz... I think the reason it was underwhelming is because Dan Campbell was not himself the minute they introduced him as the guy with kneecaps, bite kneecaps and stuff like that.
I'm with you. I didn't watch it last night because I watched Joe and Troy. I really don't watch the ManningCast. I do watch the stuff that they put on Twitter. Yeah. I look at all the audio that they put on there, and they do have a good time. It's fun. How they missed a kick, what Maher missed a kick, and Peyton went crazy. That was funny. Dan Campbell he's got the yips. I saw that, but I can't be the judge of how they handled them. The only thing I saw was how Dan looked, and it just didn't look comfortable to me, and that's all I could take out of it. And they just didn't do him any favors.
Like with the ManningCast, it's funny. Now let's not get as serious. Now with the ManningCast, what I've noticed is the great interviews, or let's not say interviews because you're right, the great co-hosts or the great guest hosts, if you will. The great ones, they're funny on their own, or they don't work. They don't wait for Peyton and Eli to bring them into a situation. Like Marshawn is Marshawn. Like Marshawn Lynch is Marshawn Lynch. Like Deion's Deion. Like Deion's gonna be Deion Sanders. He's gonna be Prime or Coach Prime, whatever he goes by now. He's gonna be Coach Prime. Like that's him. That's what it is. When they don't bring somebody into the fold, they're not fun interviews. And when they don't know how, I'll give you an example. The Rock is one of my favorite people on earth. Like, The Rock can do no wrong in my eyes. The Rock's funny as hell. Like, The Rock was one of the most boring ManningCasts that they had. I'm like, how do you screw up The Rock? They don't know what questions to ask. They don't bring him into the fold. And if you're somebody that doesn't feel like doing it, which you clearly could tell The Rock didn't want to, which you could tell Dan Campbell clearly didn't want to, but it's a good publicity for the city, for the Detroit Lions. If you're not bringing somebody into the fold that don't want to be on the show, it ain't going to be a good interview.
And maybe that's why the Lions didn't let him go on with
McAfee.
With McAfee that second time. Maybe he's like, I don't really like doing this stuff. Maybe that's the truth.
Yeah, one of the things about that too, if you noticed and I don't watch the ManningCast either. I only watched because Dan Campbell was on it, so I don't watch it at all. Yeah. But you see the clips, you see how fun it can be. So I was like, oh, Dan Campbell, ManningCast should be pretty good. And then again, I think the kneecap thing is completely lazy, and if I never hear kneecaps again, I don't think that would be soon enough. But again, I think, Braylon, you might be onto something, is that people just don't take Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions seriously at all. Yeah. I really don't. I mean, they were making fun of his red nose at Lambeau Field and his press conferences where he says kneecaps, and I don't think they took him seriously. I think they took him as some meathead that got a job and hadn't made the playoffs the last 2 years, but things are on the way up.
That's 100% how they look at it from outside. I've been on that side where it's like, it's still the Cleveland Browns. Like, nobody, you don't take them seriously. So they don't take them seriously, and what they'll do is they'll discredit everything you've done next year. So what's going to happen next year is this year it's a good story. People have already almost forgot about the story, by the way, but it's a good story. You finish the season strong, and you almost made the playoffs. It's a good story. What's going to happen next year in the offseason is the Detroit Lions, yet again, they did not make the playoffs. They start off the season 1-6, and if you look at their last 10 games, look at the teams they were beating. They lost to the Carolina Panthers. They lost to Green Bay, who's not the same Green Bay and Lambeau. They beat the Jets. Are we really going to reward them for beating a team that lost 7 of their last 8 games at the end of the season? Like, it's going to be a lot of breaking them down next year. That's why the Lions got to throw the middle finger up now and stay together and get ready. Because all that praise that they receive, it won't be praise in the offseason. It's going to be the tearing down of the praise we gave you. Like, but they lost to Carolina. But they beat the Jets with no quarterback. It's going to be a lot of that. So they got to watch out. They got to watch out for that.
Side note: Deion Sanders was incredibly entertaining. Just as a dichotomy to how Dan Campbell was.
He was asking questions.
Now, Dan Campbell is not Deion Sanders. I understand that. Nobody is. But you want to talk, you can't follow Deion Sanders. If you're going to go on the ManningCast or go on anything else, you cannot follow Deion Sanders, because I'm watching the ManningCast because of the guests. Deion Sanders, I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. This is hilarious. And then you see Dan Campbell, take your time out there, I guess. Take your time out. I don't know.
ManningCast might need to hire somebody next year to be a mediator. Like, so if they have cases where, like, guests are quiet or guests don't know how to interact and you don't know how to
get the hook.
Exactly. They got to have guys, that's their profession, where they put him, it's perfect. You got Eli, you have Peyton, then you have whoever that person is, and then you have the guest. And that person can keep them on pace so you won't have another Dan Campbell. Because there were times when Deion was asking Eli questions. Right. He was like, okay. Now Peyton, Eli. Now right here on this play, what would you do coming back after the interception? Like, I was like, oh, shoot, this is good.
How great was it when Eli signed, or when Prime signed off? Because he's
Go
obviously
Bucs.
the coach of Colorado, and Peyton Manning lives in Denver. So Coach
Smart
Prime
man.
said, Hey Peyton, you see a couple of brothers pull up in your driveway. Let us in. That's me and my son. Let us in, okay, Peyton? We'll be pulling up. Just let us in, okay?
You know what's so funny about that is Prime not joking. Like, Prime not joking. Like, I've been to Denver. Where that stadium is to where Boulder is, that's like a 25-minute ride. Like, it's not that far at all. He's gonna pull up. He's gonna pull up.
I mean, it just doesn't get much better.
Hey, Peyton, it's us.
Don't you want to play for that guy?
Yeah, seriously, absolutely. Yeah. One of the things that Peyton Manning said last night, which was the biggest he called it the biggest misconception in sports. I want to ask Braylon about that, because he's the only one that would know about it. We'll do it next. But first, a message from Les Stanford in Ferndale. How about that? Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale, a trusted name for over 50 years. Les Stanford Buick GMC has the same great service that customers have come to know. You can go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. And of course, looking for a Chevy or Cadillac? Les Stanford has been standing strong on Michigan Avenue in Dearborn for over 50 years. Find the brand you want. LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com.
Find new road.
Find them.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
It's Alta Equipment time.
Hey, uptime. It matters. You changed
Uptime
it.
matters. You know it. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, give Alta Rental a call today. Give them. They got you covered. Call 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
All right, here we go, Braylon Edwards.
ready. I'm on the clock.
Last night, Peyton Manning. And again, I'd love to show you guys these clips. We cannot show you clips because YouTube would pull us off. Because the other...
You have to pay for packaging. Like, it'd be way too much for it.
But even like, ESPN and
If
McAfee,
people are making money on it, you can't play it.
Thank you for that definition. If people are making money on it, you can't play it. So... that's why we can't play you these clips. So here's the quote from Peyton Manning. The biggest misconception in sports is the halftime adjustment. He says, I don't know if I ever made a halftime adjustment in my entire 18-year career. I think that's the biggest myth in football, the halftime adjustments. You go in, you use the restroom, you eat a couple of oranges, and then the head coach says, all right, let's go. End quote. Braylon Edwards, I defer to you on this.
All right, so I got to give Peyton pushback, and it's hard to give a man like Peyton pushback when he's considered to be, the greatest of all time in what he does. He's not. He's considered. I disagree. There is a halftime adjustment, and I don't think he sees the halftime adjustment because it's Peyton. Like, what is the quarterback coach telling Peyton Manning? Nothing. What's an offensive coordinator telling Peyton Manning? Nothing, because Peyton is the offensive coordinator. So when he goes in at halftime, he already has in his mind what didn't work, what he's going to fix, what he's going to change, what throws he isn't going to make, what plays he now wants to run. That's him. For the average individual, when you go there that's not Peyton Manning, there is an adjustment. It doesn't necessarily come from, the coaches just tell you, the basic stuff. Like, hey, it's like, come on, man, get out there, make sure you're finishing your blocks. And, and we're going to go to this a little bit now. I think we can find you in the seam. They tell you stuff like that at halftime. The adjustment happens with the coaches. Like, if you ever notice, the coaches are late to the locker room. Like, when we first get in there, the coaches are always late. That means the coaches are still in the booth arguing with each other on what should happen, what should change. So they get down, they sprint down there. Hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna change this up a little bit. Hey, don't worry. Keep going. Keep getting the ball down the field. He'll catch it. Blah blah blah. Whatever it is, like that's the kind. And then they run back up to get in that room. They make adjustments because when you come out and you're playing against a team that has 8 in the box, and you're running the ball all the time, well, common sense will tell you to pass the ball in the second half. When you're coming out and they're playing all zone and you're trying to fit it in the zone and you only have 2 receivers, well, common sense will tell you to run a little bit more in the middle and then open it up for the seams. So there are halftime adjustments. You see them all the time. Like, you see them all the time. Look at Michigan versus Ohio State this year. It's a halftime adjustment. Michigan shut down Ohio State in the second half. Their halftime adjustments, I think maybe he just means they're not that drastic.
Maybe that, and perhaps, Maz, it's within the coaching staff, not so much the players.
Correct. Maybe certain players get pulled over and said, hey, we saw you do this. Instead of doing this, maybe do this. Other than that, there's guys going to the John and getting some liquids in, maybe getting IVs even at halftime.
Nowadays, guys are checking their phone. They're checking in with their wives, they're checking in with the kids. They babe, how's it going? I mean, that's what guys are doing. They're going to the bathroom. They're eating orange slices. I give Peyton that. I've had my share of orange slices in those Smuckers.
Do they cut them up
peanut
for
butter
you?
and jelly sandwich.
They cut them up for you?
They better.
Nice.
All the money you get paid.
Nice.
But at the same time, there's not a lot of going to the board and re-breaking down plays like this is training camp. They say that for themselves, and they put us in the positions that they saw were deficient in the first half.
Tom Mazawey, shall we?
Yes.
I think now is the time that we would like to go around the NFL.
All righty, let's do it. A couple of coaches lost their gigs today. Let's start in Braylon's favorite, with his favorite team, the Chargers. Joe Lombardi, former Lions assistant coach. He was the OC with LA, the Chargers, and he was let go today, Braylon. Looks like Brandon Staley is keeping his gig.
This is lazy. This is lazy as hell. And you know what this is called? This is a bigger issue. This is what happens when ownership falls asleep at the wheel, okay? The owner of the Charger is Dean Spanos and his brother and his wife and his sister and another sister who actually filed some claims on Dean Spanos, said that he violated a fiduciary a meeting or agreement or
they
whatever.
They have a family feud for years.
Exactly. They've been fighting forever. They've been fighting so long that he forgot that his GM wasn't that good. They've been fighting for so long that he forgot that he owned the team and that he had responsibilities to what the GM is doing. When Tom Telesco, who's the GM of the Los Angeles Chargers now, they were the San Diego Chargers then, he hired Anthony Lynn. When he hired Anthony Lynn as head coach, I knew something was going on with the Chargers. Anthony Lynn's not a head coach. I've known Anthony Lynn since he was cutting his teeth with the Browns, so I don't say out of hate. He's not a head coach. Like, he's not a head coach. You hire him. They kept him for too long. Then you bring on Brandon Staley. Everybody's got to have a new young guy. Everybody's got to have a Zach Taylor or a Sean McVay. Oh, we got ours and Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley has been making poor decision after poor decision for the last 3 years. How do you have all this talent? How do you have all this talent every year, this immense talent, and you can't even make the playoffs? And then when you make the playoffs, it's because you barely made the playoffs because the team that's better than you in your division, the Raiders, they can't figure out who's in control, whether it's Derek Carr or it's Josh McDaniels. I guess we know the answer to that now. You keep Brandon Staley on, but you fire the offensive coordinator. Was the offensive coordinator's fault that you kept Mike Williams in the game too long in Week 18, and now he got hurt, and he wasn't available for you to play against the Jaguars? Do you know how they use Mike Williams? Every catch he makes is a first down. He averages about 7 targets a game, averages about 6 first downs a game. Don't you think that would have helped them in the second half of that game, that they were destroying the Jacksonville Jaguars? This is lazy to me. Telesco should have been fired a while ago. He should have been fired after he hired Anthony Lynn. Where's your strength and conditioning? That's a whole nother topic. Telesco should have been fired. Spanos family, they don't pay attention to the team, so they're failing their organization. They're failing their fans. Keeping Brandon Staley on, to me, I don't understand how you fire Lombardi and don't fire Staley. It's like, oh, we gotta fire somebody. Well, let's not fire our golden boy. Let's go fire him. He hasn't done anything to be the golden boy.
Players do like him, though.
You said what?
The players have stuck up for him.
Okay, you know what? Players like Mari Schottenheimer, too. But Mari Schottenheimer went 14-2, got fired, and the very next year, Norv Turner went to the AFC Championship. Sometimes you got to fire people. Sometimes you got to fire people that are nice. It happens that way.
The Chargers organization is the Chargers organization. You can take the Chargers out of San Diego, but you can't take San Diego out of the Chargers.
Damn
That's
right.
the same organization that has been miserable. That's the same organization that Eli Manning would not go play for because of the history of that organization. And every Lions fan today should applaud Dean Spanos. Is that his name?
Yeah.
They should applaud Dean Spanos.
Why is that?
Because I'll tell you.
He kept Ben Johnson.
If the Chargers keep Brandon Staley, which it's looking like they're doing, you know who's not going to the Chargers?
BJ.
Sean Peyton. Sean Peyton is not going to the Chargers. You know what that makes Sean Peyton available for? The Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers will go all in on Sean Peyton now and not Ben Johnson. Bring your guy back. This has a domino effect around the league. The Chargers keep keeping Dean Spanos. I think this is
keeping Ben.
The greatest thing that could happen. Or this at least gives you a chance of keeping Ben Johnson, because it's one more job that Sean Payton can't get. You want Sean Payton out there to get one of these jobs that Ben Johnson's going to get. It's essentially you're hiring a coach with experience that's an offensive guru, or a coach with no experience that's an offensive guru. Who would you like, Ben Johnson or Sean Payton?
Here's why I would ask this question. I think you're right to some extent. I think you're right. I think that definitely keeps Ben Johnson here another year. But I think that job for the Los Angeles Chargers is going to open up regardless, because you know what? Brandon Staley ain't going to change. Brandon Staley's going to be the same coach he was this year, as he was last year, as he was the year before that. And his division is going to be better, by the way. Brandon Staley won't make the playoffs next year or barely make it in. He'll limp in. He'll be fired. So Ben Johnson will take that job next year. So it gives you Ben Johnson another year. I agree with that. But let me ask you that about Sean Payton. If you're Sean Payton, Maz, and you retired to live a life, a little more carefree, a little more relaxing. Being a coach was a little stressful. I'm kind of young, but
he's out in L.A.
Yeah, I'm out in L.A. I'm living and feeling good. Am I leaving this to go coach the Carolina Panthers with no quarterback, with average at best draft capital for where they are as an organization? Ryan, you're a smart man. Are you leaving L.A. to go coach the Carolina Panthers if you're Sean Payton, coming from the cachet that you have?
I am not, but you never know what's inside somebody. I mean, Sean Payton's a football coach, not a TV guy, and I think he fully expected one of those 2 Los Angeles jobs to open up this year. I think he sits 1 year. I don't think he's sitting 2. I think he's going to coach next year. I think he's just a junkie. I think he's a football junkie.
I
just
agree.
Kind of like Tom Brady is. Can't you know what I mean?
I'm just not taking that Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
the hell with that.
No, I don't disagree with you. Continue to go around the NFL. We'll do it next. But first, a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Downtown Detroit is all decked out this season with the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway's got the giant slide, the winter bumper cars, and of course, that indoor arcade. Not to mention, you can always grab a drink at the Lodge before or after any Wings or Pistons home game. Shop, eat, and play all downtown with Decked Out Detroit, and don't forget to check them out at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Decked out. You're doing good over there, man. You're doing good. How's everybody doing out there today? Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com if you're listening live. However you are watching or listening to Woodward Sports, we appreciate you. Talking a little football here. We'll go around the NFL. Tom Mazawey.
Let's keep it out in L.A. with the Chargers. Joey Bosa, he had a rough day on Sunday. He flagged a couple times for unsportsmanlike, thought he was being held, thought the offensive lineman was going off sides every other play. And, well, he didn't hold back in his post-game presser.
I need to be more accountable for my actions, obviously, but it's a heated game, and I'm hurting out there. I'm playing on half a leg. I'm getting dragged to the ground. Whatever could hurt me, along with screwing our team.
Basically said is the referees sucked. He says I'm probably going to fine $40,000, $50,000 for this, but he feels that the referees were, after the game, they went into their little locker room and danced around and said, we got that guy good today. And he's like, there's got to be accountability in the NFL. We brought this up a couple of weeks ago with the referees with Seattle and the Rams. And, of course, we got our apology from the NFL. But it falls on deaf ears. These referees have to get better. It's that simple.
I would say this. The first thing I would say is he should be lucky that he stayed in the game, because technically he got a personal foul, and then he got another personal foul, and then they came up with some rule that I've never heard of to keep him in the game. Yeah. So he's lucky he got to stay in that game, because the fine for getting kicked out of a game is a little bit more for the fine that he's going to receive, which is probably about $25,000. Now, getting that out of the way, he's every right to be mad. He has every right to be mad. I watched that game. I actually went back and watched some of that game just around the times in which he was complaining. It was clear as day he was being held. They weren't calling it. The linemen were jumping offside, so that technically they were jumping backward, but they were false starting so that they can get a jump on guarding him because of how electric he is off that line of scrimmage. If your best players don't speak up, then how will you really get a message out there? Your best players sometimes, and this isn't complaining. So for people to be like, man, shut up. No, this needs to be addressed.
Man, shut up.
The refs have been horrible all season. Your best players, the ones that you watch, the ones that you entrust the logo to, the ones that you put in deals to make money, if those players can't speak up, then who the hell can? Right. So I'm glad that Joey Bosa, somebody that people will listen to, is speaking up because it'll get heard.
No doubt. I think, obviously, I think everything that you said was true. And Joey Bosa, those guys absolutely do that. And if they say they don't, they do. You know, these players and coaches will come to the podium and get fined. Tom Izzo did it yesterday. Tom Izzo said, I'm not going to... he talked about blaming the officials. The officials were horrible yesterday in that Michigan State-Purdue game. Horrible.
1-point game.
And he came to the podium. It's across the board. I don't know how to change it. I know how to fix the NFL. I don't know how to change college basketball, but I know how to fix the NFL.
Hey, another former Lion coach in the news. How about Jim Schwartz?
Jimmy
Handshake is back. He is the defensive coordinator of Braylon's Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns. This is a great spot for Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is always known as being a great defensive mind, somebody that gets it done. I mean, the Lions were their best defensive self. When Jim Schwartz was here, you look at what he did with Tennessee and as obviously winning the Super Bowl with the Eagles. But this is great because there's so much talent on that Cleveland Browns defense. For them to play like they play, for us to every game wonder like, what are the Browns going to do? They have the formula to win. You got a great defense. I mean, you got Newsome, who's a first rounder. You have Denzel Ward, who's the second highest paid DB in all of football. You have Myles Garrett. You have a list of players on that team. You have Greedy Williams as well out of LSU. Then you go on the other side of the ball. You got the best running attack in the league. You got good offensive line, and now you get Deshaun Watson with a full year to be with that team. This is a great spot for Jim Schwartz with that defensive talent that they had. Jim Schwartz is going to do something with Kevin Stefanski, excuse me.
Yeah, he's going to take over for him eventually.
I'm kind of surprised he has not gotten another look as a head coach.
I loved him.
Had a lot of success as a defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Won a Super Bowl with them. Took a year off. I thought this guy would get another look at least one other look.
I think he will again.
Two things. One, what side of the ball is he good with?
D.
Who's getting all the head coaching jobs?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt.
Young offensive coordinators, and that's the other thing. He's not young. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, this is a guy, I was on that 49ers team, the infamous handshake, the Lions with Jim Harbaugh and Jim Schwartz. This is a guy that's a defensive mind. This is a guy that's definitely a head coach in this league. But with everybody worrying about offense and everybody worrying about younger, he kind of fits in that cutoff point.
No doubt.
Yeah. Hey, we talked quickly earlier today about Byron Leftwich. He was let go last night after the game, Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator. But the guy that keeps his job is Todd Bowles, who I really think is over his head. Again.
Is that been fully...
Yeah. He's getting canned.
No, I know Leftwich is, but... Yeah. Bowles is coming back.
Well, they haven't said anything about it. When you get rid of a coordinator,
I know,
you keep the coach.
Yeah, right.
So what I would say to Todd Bowles is I'm glad he got another year. And this is why. It's not even necessarily the black thing. It's more so when you look at the offense, what they were in 2020 when they won it all, they could run the ball. They had 3 running backs. They ran the ball. They passed the ball. They were efficient on both sides of the ball. When Bruce Arians left, like this year, weren't quite the same. Even last year, you started to see the chinks in the defense. So I think Todd Bowles' team is not the same team that he inherited. So I want to see what he's able to do in an off-season, a full off-season, a full season, get this guy. I want to give him one more shot. You know, there was some back and forth with he and Brady, a little friction. Brady won't be there. So I want to see what he does with another shot. I want to give him one more shot.
Who's got a quarterback?
But for Leftwich, That's tough to fire Leftwich, considering your running attack was horrible. And that's not Leftwich's fault. Leftwich can't go play running back. Just to think, a year ago we were trying to get Leftwich a head coaching job. Now he's just trying to get a job.
Yeah, I love Byron Leftwich, and I've liked him since day one. But the results are the results. If you watch that team play all year long, I mean, he just had a really hard time creating any offense whatsoever.
You got no O-line and no running game.
I get it. You know, and what happens when that the general manager doesn't get fired, the coach does. You know what I mean? It's just that's professional sports.
It is true.
I don't know if you guys caught the last week of the NFL season when Aaron Rodgers had his press conference, but today he was on the Pat McAfee show. I'm going to tell you what he said on Pat McAfee, but I want to play back what he said last week to the press at Green Bay when they asked him, if he does leave, what will he miss the most?
This is it, Aaron.
Last one.
Is it last time out there or last time here? What are you going to miss?
I'm going to miss your questions, Bill. And Mike Clements taking 10 seconds to do a lead up. And Pete angling for something. And Bob writing stories about my personal life. You've been good lately, though. Thanks. And Jason bringing it back home with something that's kind of heavy hitting. Stephanie Sutton coming out of left field. A good question. I miss the guys. I miss the fans. Yeah. Thank you.
I thought that was pretty cool.
What a weirdo, though, man.
Why? Why is he a weirdo?
I mean, I find him to be
He called out every beat writer.
I know.
And
He's
said hello
fine.
to them.
He's fine. He's just a different guy. He's just not my kind of guy.
Can I laugh?
Yeah.
As I'm watching this whole thing play out, you know what I was thinking in my head? I said, I can't wait because Ryan and Maz are about to get into it. Like I knew how you saw it, and I knew how you saw it.
Look, he's fine. He's just not my kind of guy.
I agree with both
He don't
of
like
you, by
you
the way. You know you can't talk about his two sons,
Right, yeah.
Aaron and Baker.
Right.
No, but I agree with both of you guys, though. I think he is weird as hell, but you know what? Hey, weirdos are great sometimes.
That's right.
But I think on the other side of that, this was genuine, though. Like this was... Like I respect this moment. Him looking back, him naming each writer by name, and what they were good at, what their thing was with him, and it was one of the rare, authentic, genuine Aaron Rodgers moments we got. So I liked it.
Yeah.
So today on Pat McAfee,
He's still weird though.
He said, Aaron Rodgers said, "Do I think I can play? Of course. Can I play at a high level? Yeah. The highest? I think I could win the MVP again in the right situation." And there's a longer quote, but that's what he basically told. Pat McAfee also said, "I'm taking my time on this decision. When I make it, it's going to be all in or all out."
I'm not sure really how this works for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, but he did sign a contract, 3 years, $150 million guaranteed. I mean, can he just walk to another team? I mean, because a lot of people... You don't have to just stay with the same team anymore. You can move about. You can maybe you're done in Green Bay. Maybe it's just stale for you. But maybe it will breathe. Tom Brady seemed to be 10 years younger when he went to Tampa Bay than his first year in Tampa than his last year in New England. 10 years younger.
They're killing him they're killing him in our chat, of course.
Really?
Nobody in our chat likes Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm it. I'm the only show in town.
Yeah, he.
I mean, can he go play for somebody else?
I don't know.
But the way I took it is different. The way I took it is he's either all in with the Green Bay Packers or he's going nowhere. Like he's retiring. Like, that's kind of how I took it. Like, I don't think he's going to a new team.
Yeah, no.
Like the reason why I say that too is yes, it was very different with Tom Brady. Like it looked like he was breathing completely different air when he was down in Tampa. He was finally breathing great oxygen. But it wasn't Tom Brady's fault necessarily that he left. It wasn't Tom Brady's fault necessarily how things blew up in New England. Like that's not his fault. So him leaving was him getting out of a bad situation that wasn't bipartisan of him. Aaron Rodgers, if he tried to leave and go to a new situation, it'd be like, You the one took the poop.
Right.
Like, you the one took the poop and then left. Like, how you get mad that you dropped the deuce and it stinks? And you know, oh, man, it stinks over here. I got to go over here. It's you. So, like, I don't see him leaving. I see him as either I'm all in, like I'm staying, and I got to get back to Green Bay because I cannot believe that the Detroit Lions beat me at home to get to the playoffs, or I'm completely walking away from football. You guys can keep your $100 million or whatever the hell you owe me. Like, you keep it, I'm done. I think it's one or the other. I don't think it's let me go to the Raiders, let me go to the 49ers. I grew up out here. I think it's I'm all in with the Green Bay Packers, like I said I would be, or I'm just walking away from the game. Because like you told me, Ryan, he's one of those guys that can walk away from $100 million.
I just didn't want to step on you there because when you start talking about dropping deuces and taking deuces and having a deuce over here.
The deuces.
Chuck the deuces. I mean, you'll see that on social media later today, I'm sure.
It was good, though.
It was a good one. It was a good one. All right, guys.
Are we still talking about the deuce?
No. NFL draft news. C.J. Stroud making news yesterday. I want to talk about that today. We'll do it next. But first, a message from Chili Peppers Tanning.
Oh, man. Chili Peppers Tanning. 27 locations throughout the metro Detroit area. So you got no excuse to not go get your tan. Look at that beautiful sunshine out there today. Not. You know that. We're not getting the sun until who the heck knows. Maybe opening day we might get the sun when the Tigers are home here at Comerica Park. If you join the Pepper Club, they're going to save you $5 against any competitor on unlimited tanning. Plus, you get the cleanest salons in the D, the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters, ChiliPeppersTanning.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Centron World is an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages and premium bottled water. Centron is fashionable, it's functional, and it's fun. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, then Centron is your choice. Drink it, live it with Centron.
Look at that. Look at that. Tom Brady has no tag in his clause in his contract, meaning he's guaranteed to become an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Lots of GOAT news today.
Guess what the highest rated playoff game was this weekend?
Bills and Dolphins.
It was. You know how many people watched that game?
35 million.
Over 40 million.
What? Oh, my gosh.
That was a 1 o'clock game.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was a long game.
People are thirsty for it, man. People are thirsty for it. People love the NFL. Divisional round to me is the best. I would have loved to have seen 3 games on Saturday and 3 games on Sunday.
You mean the wild card?
Wild card round, yeah. The divisional round is the best football, though.
Well, the final 8, round, right?
Yeah.
Final 8.
You got it. Got C.J. Stroud going pro. I think this is also great news for the Detroit Lions. Because there's just one more player that can be taken in the top 5 to kind of have your guys come down, perhaps, however you want to look at it. I think the more good players in the NFL draft, the better it is for your NFL team. The only reason this could have even dragged out as long as it did, because he went right up to the deadline, is because of NIL. They were trying to put together a package that rivaled about $10 million to keep him at Ohio State. And I was reading one of the, I think I texted the thread. Very reputable person said that they're putting $10 million deals together for high school recruits.
Jeez.
$10 million deals for high school recruits.
That's so bad.
So they were trying to put, if you believe him, They're trying to put a deal kind of in that realm for C.J. Stroud to stay at Ohio State. Incredible.
It's as I was listening to that, and I was listening to Maz too, saying that's.
I see you read my text thread a lot.
I was just thinking, like, Maz, I know where Maz is coming from. Maz is basically saying, like, how could you put that much money into an individual that hasn't been proven yet?
Kid.
So, no, I agree. But it's kind of like, well, it's not. It is. When you watch now, when you see certain kids that are phenoms that everybody knows about for years, when they declare that they're going to a school, what are we just talking about? Enrollment. Then enrollment goes up. Like, ticket prices go up. Ticket sales go up. Jersey sales go up. Those kids haven't even hit the floor yet, but they're already enhancing the brand. How many kids agree to go to a school because of somebody that's going there? They're like, oh, shoot, man. Dante Moore's going, or Dante King's going there? I'm going too. Now you've enhanced the brand. $10 million may be a bit much, but I don't have a problem with these people putting together packages for kids to come in that's enhancing your brand before they even set foot on the field. I believe they enhanced the brand.
Yeah,
$10 million is a lot, but
yeah, I don't know. That seems to me pretty crazy because I couldn't tell you one player that has been like, is Arch Manning going to do that at Texas? I mean, remember Quinn Ewers? I mean,
he took the money and ran.
I just mentioned him because these guys don't all work. Now, it ain't my money. It ain't your money, but
that's why I don't count it.
Right. So, I don't know. Interesting. Who cares? But I'll tell you.
Sure.
This C.J. Stroud going to the NFL draft because you potentially could have 3 of the top 5 picks go as quarterback. Will Levis. A lot of people talking about him, C.J. Stroud, and, of course, Bryce Young. Then you've got the 2 defensive players, Will Anderson and Jalen Carter.
Mm-hmm.
There's your 5.
Yep.
You get 6.
You gotta hope.
You get the best of the rest. So my question to you guys is...
And the only reason they got 6 is because Seattle beat the Rams in a coin flip.
Yeah.
For the 5 spot.
The Rams shouldn't have been that bad. So realistically, let's act like the Rams are what they should have been.
Yeah, I understand. But you're in the position that you're in.
Yeah.
There's 5 players really. There's 5 studs that you think are studs, and you got the 6th pick. And my basic question is, I don't think you're one player away. But if you think that Jalen Carter is an Aaron Donald type, do you just package 6 and 18 and say, let me get to 4?
No. And I guess I got to re-understand the question again. If I'm thinking that it's Aaron Donald, if he's the next coming, do I package 6 and 18, boom, boom, put this together, here's this, and let me get that? I just don't know. Because I feel like you're watching with the Lions. And see, this is a tricky part of being good with less. Because you're watching the Lions this year, you're like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to package 18 and 6. You see how well they played at the end of the season? We could figure this out. Like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I would just err on the side of judging Brad Holmes, and if it was me, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because I like what the Lions are able to do this year. I think you still have picks, you still have free agency money, you still can actually see what some of these guys do. I wouldn't package it. I would hope it falls to me. I would err on the side of good luck, if I'm being honest. And the reason why is, what did everybody say in the Morris Sider draft for the Red Wings when they were unhappy with their pick? Because when they got Morris Sider was 7.
Yeah.
Everybody was pissed that we were 7, correct?
Yep.
We got Morris
So
Sider.
it should have been number 1.
Exactly. Well, we got Morris Sider. It worked out, didn't it? Last year, everybody was, there's only 4 guys in the NBA draft, and guess what we picked? We picked 5. But we got Jaden Ivey, who's the guy that you wanted anyway, who's the guy that people like on TV are still complaining they wish that the New York Knicks would have gotten, but they didn't. So what I'm looking at is, you know what? I don't think this same Detroit anymore. I just leave it up to chance, and I think at 6, we'll have exactly what we want. We'll have the pick there that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions want, or Brad Holmes is going to work some of that hocus pocus, and he's going to figure out a player that they can package and deal and get. So to answer your question, no, because I've seen it work for the Detroit franchise within the last 2 years. I saw it work for the Pistons last year, and I saw it work for the Red Wings 2 years ago. So I'm going to err on the side of good fortune moving forward.
I'm going to second what Braylon said on this one. I'm not I'm not trading 2 number ones. All that hard work to get those picks.
All that fleecing.
No way. I'm keeping those picks, and something's going to happen good for the Lions. And then they got 2 number 2s as well. It's got to be the new Lions luck. That's the way I'm looking at it.
So the Athletic came out with a mock draft today. They have the Lions taking a cornerback.
Kenny Ringo?
No, cornerback from the Oregon, Christian Gonzalez, who is David Blau's brother-in-law. By the way, Christian Gonzalez. And then they have, he's got the Lions trading 18 and their first second-round pick, moving up to 15 and drafting Anthony Richardson. So, I mean, again.
Okay.
That was a different monkey wrench, but still, you to your point, trade.
So you're trading. You're making a trade. I said I don't think the Lions make 5 picks. And they got 5 picks in the top 80. I don't think they make the 5 picks.
So
would you like a quarterback?
But here's the thing.
I mean, we talked about it.
Christian Gonzalez is a DB, so you get yourself a first-round DB, and Anthony Richardson is your backup, so you get yourself a backup quarterback that can learn under Jared Goff and Ben Johnson if he's still here, Mark Brunell, blah, blah, blah. But to me, man, that real necessity is that D-line, is that interior D-line, or it's the Mike linebacker spot. Now, there isn't a Mike linebacker that I'm taking 6th overall, but those are the 2, and then the cornerback as well. I don't know if I'm packaging those 2 for Anthony Richardson. I haven't seen enough of Anthony Richardson, but when I saw him, he wasn't the quarterback that I'm packaging early second and first round to come get him in the first round. I'm good on that too.
I think I'm at the point, and I don't know if I've ever been here before, but I think I'm at the point that no matter what Brad Holmes decides to do,
you're good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
He's earned that. I feel like he's earned that. So we'll see what happens with that. Just wanted to point that out. Back to wrap it up next, guys, but first a message from Guardian Alarm. Guardian Alarm, their local security experts, your local security experts, have been for over 90 years. Customized solutions from real experts. They're professional technicians. Take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. Plus, 24/7 professional monitoring. You can call them day or night and know that a Guardian Alarm team member will stay on the phone with you as long as you need. Technology backed by people who have been proven to care. Call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800.
Stay out.
Stay out. Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Stay out.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort food from Big Boy. That's right. Shay, try that Cajun chicken Alfredo or that brand new, that baked meatloaf, that classic meatloaf.
Ooh,
that sounds really good on a nice cold day like today. How about breakfast? Get it going early with that stuffed potato pancake or those omelets. How about them? You got the Lumberjack, the Santa Fe Garden, or the Blockbuster. Try one, try them all at your local Big Boy.
Hey guys, before we get out of here, did you see that Jalen Duren is not in France with the team because he lost his passport?
Yep.
This from James L. Edwards III on Twitter. Jalen Duren is not currently with the Pistons because the league's youngest player lost his passport, LOL. The team is working and hoping to get him here in time for the game.
That's what's so funny, and I'm glad JB sent that in earlier, and I said I wanted to comment on it. You get spoiled being in like professional sports because I know it's the NHL. Shut up. I know it's that way in the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL. And the reason I say that is, man, hush, is legitimately, just they got, and I didn't have a passport at the time, but just got traded to the Jets. In our first game, we were going up to New York. We're playing Buffalo. We were going to Buffalo. I got a passport in like a day. Like the things in the NFL, like things in professional
You
sports.
didn't have to wait 4 to 6 weeks?
I don't know. And I didn't even, well, I guess I had an itinerary, but no 4 to 6 weeks, no 3 days, no 72 hours, none of that. They just made it happen. Same thing like flying on planes. That's when players get in trouble when they fly commercial. Like put on a seatbelt. Don't talk on the phone. They never tell us those things when we're flying on airplanes. Like we don't have to sit down. We don't have to put a seatbelt on. We can talk on the phone as long as we want to. You can do all of that, and the airplane never crashes. The airplane never goes awry. You can do whatever you want to. I'm telling you, they're lying to you, man. They're lying to you.
Listen to me.
Don't listen to me.
Back in September, we were going to New Jersey, my whole family, because my sister was getting married. So
married?
My sister was getting married.
Married?
My sister? No, my sister Christine.
Married?
He said married.
Married.
Married?
Anyway,
you ever see 16 Candles, man?
Exactly, 16 Candles. I was like, even I knew that
one. Okay. We meet the girls at the airport because they're coming from Michigan State, one of them. The other one coming from Grand Valley. So we get the little Maddie in the car, and we get to the airport. Me, Kathy, and Maddie. And we get out of the car, and Maddie forgot her suitcase at home.
No.
All right, that's the first stop. Ready? Now the girls pull into the lot, and we're getting on the little bus so we can go over and check our bags at the airport. You know, park and ride. We get to the airport, and I'm getting everyone's ID. Dad, I don't have my ID. This is Abby. Abby forgot her freaking ID back at Grand Valley State. So I got a kid with no luggage, and I got a kid with no ID. And thank God she had her student ID with her.
Right.
So to make a long story short, it took an extra long time to get through. The airline got us through and got us on the flight, and we had to do it coming back home as well. But these there's another kid, young kid, who, you know, if you don't tell her what to do, is not going to do what she's supposed to do.
Oh my God!
So Jalen Duran, all of 19 years old, his mom packs for him. She didn't pack for him this time.
Can't you be mad at the young kid? Hey, here's something. Somebody's chasing greatness right now, and that person is LeBron James. He's 316 points away from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which is probably one of those records that no one ever thought would be surpassed. That, Gretzky, and probably the Russian record. Are you watching? Like, what does it mean to you, LeBron breaking Kareem's record? Does it automatically mean he's the greatest of all time? Does it, like, what's your thoughts on that achievement? Because it's going to happen in 15 games. I just did the math. 15 games, he'll have the record.
You know, I'll just be completely honest.
You care less?
Well, no, it's a great achievement. To me, Michael Jordan will always be the best. Yeah. Nothing LeBron James can do or not do that will change my mind. No. Michael Jordan's the best. It's just how I feel about it. And conversely, I think it's same for a lot of people who ever believed that Joe Montana was the best.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what Tom Brady does, Joe Montana is going to be the best to them. And it's an incredible achievement. I think the testament that guys like LeBron, health and taking care of their bodies, and Brady and Serena and Ovechkin, like these all-time greats that just continue to play at a level that is so high, to play as long as they do. I think that's really the story. Incredible.
The one thing that's great about this, for him to be on that list, is what I'm noticing as we're about to get out of here. What I'm noticing in sport is like eras are starting to disappear. So whatever was active in that era, who was ever the guy in that era, is what this era, these kids, these guys, these women are going to respond. That's who they're going to argue for. And slowly but surely, like even Jordan now, slowly but surely, like it's going this way with the fate. In 20 years, they're not going to be talking about Jordan. In 10 years, they won't be talking about Jordan as they are now. By him putting himself on the number one spot, ain't nobody ever passed LeBron James. All this load management, nobody's ever passed LeBron James. By him being in that number one spot, his name's there forever, like as number one. So regardless of people want to argue about in 30 years, his name's still gonna be number one. In 50 years, he's still gonna be number one on the list. In 60 years, he's still going to be number one on the list. I think that's what this buys him, is he now goes through the eras. I think is where other people will start to fade. He's always going to be number one because
Numero
of that.
uno.
Yeah.
Maz, you got a thought on LeBron?
He makes me sick.
That's it. I'm done.
You know what?
I'm done.
By the way, LeBron, he ain't done either. He's not.
He's trying to play to his son.
He's not ending his career with the Lakers. That's my call.
You do realize when it's all said and done, he'll be number one in every category, probably. Rebounds, assists, steals. I don't know about assists. John Stockton got a good head start on him.
Get us out of here.
Hey, look, man, love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Keep it short and sweet. For JB, Maz, Fletch over there, it's my man Ryan Ermanni.
You know what time it
Braylon
is.
Edwards, he is Ryan Ermanni. And that is Tom Mazawey. We're out of here.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.